Welcome into the Daily Wolves podcast. I'm your host, Evan. I'm back again today after my 1 day absence from the live. But guess what? Andrew and Matt, they held down the fort last night. Andrew, or should I say, Tripp
I
and
was gonna
Matt
say
held
I
down
was
the
in the
fort. I know.
bowels of
Andrew was in the
Target
bowels.
Center.
That's where I'm going to confuse. Me and Andrew were in the bowels doing our stuff on the side, and everyone else was back in here. Tripp was holding the fort down, and we got him back again. And on top of that, for those who support us for a long time, you know how our history, me and Tripp, we've gone back for a long, long time. So it's always great to have Tripp back in here. Obviously, we have fans joining live right now. This is a live stream, so if you're listening to this in the future, this is going to be kind of our live podcast that we're hosting here at the Daily Wolves courtside. But yeah, having Andrew, obviously, you were in the arena, Andrew. You were there to see the Minnesota Timberwolves, the energy, everything in the stadium, how the vibe was. I saw John Krasinski, who we love. Shout out to Johnny K. He said this was the loudest he had ever heard the stadium. Would you say that's an accurate description of the game the other day when they got that big win?
Yes and no. So I don't think it was the loudest I've ever heard it. Like Game
Mm-hmm.
6 Denver when they were rolling up 20 something, like it was loud. Game 3 I think was louder than Game 4. I will say for a Sunday 2:30 matinee game, that was the loudest I've ever heard Target Center on a Sunday. Like even on a weekday.
Okay, yeah.
They brought the energy the entire game. I don't know where people found the energy on a Sunday afternoon, but it was an awesome environment, and that's what the Wolves need. Ant said after Game 3 that was the most fun he'd ever had playing in Target Center. It was so loud he couldn't hear like Gobert telling him pick and roll reads or like the play calls, and it was very similar to that on Game 4. I think if there was something that the fans brought extra on Game 4 was there was quite a few courtside fans that were just absolutely like berating Luka and LeBron the entire game. So I know Jordan Dye was one of those guys that was just sitting there like the entire game berating Luka. But shout out to the courtside fans because they made it hostile, like on top of the Lakers.
Dude, facts. I saw that video that went around with Jordan. That's insane. I mean, Jordan,
Yep.
shout out to Jordan Dye. I mean, I don't know if you're tuning in right now, but Jordan is such a staple in the Wolves community, and he does great work. A fan of the show. Love Jordan. Shout out to Lamb Chops Clothing as well and what he's doing with all his business. But you see Jordan courtside all the time, and he's always heckling the fans.
Mm-hmm.
He never sits down. He lets them know, and it's crazy because I thought about it when I was watching the video, and I've thought about it before, but Jordan impacts the game too, man. He just does. I mean, when you have super fans that do that and they sit courtside, whether we want to say so or not, Jordan impacts different players when they come into our arena. Tripp, you've met Jordan. We've had him on before. Would you say that impacts people's games?
Yeah, I mean, even just from your guys' vantage point, watching on a TV, like there was numerous times where I might be wrong, but Luca would hit a big shot, and it seemed like he was directing his response directly to Jordan.
Yes.
Like kind of telling him to simmer down, and like makes me a little nervous when you get Luca going because I think he feeds off of it. But no, truly, I think just from seeing it on TV, Jordan very much, and a number of other people that I don't know, but they do a great job courtside. I mean, Luca was fired up. LeBron does a good job of kind of staying in his own space, but you could tell Luca was visibly kind of targeting, going back and forth with Jordan. It was cool to see on TV.
Oh, it was awesome, man. Let's get into the game, guys. Let's dive into it. Let's kind of get everything in. Obviously, people are still joining up here. Shout out to everyone who's already in here on the live. I know it's a Monday night special. It's kind of off brand, but you know what? We're gonna get into it right now. I thought, watching back the game, it was probably one of the most physical games I've seen in the series. I know in the series in general, it's been super physical, guys. But good Lord, I mean, the video footage, the replays, everything I watched of Anthony Edwards and LeBron going back and forth, shoving. For those who haven't seen it, go look them up online. It was so physical. On top of that, Julius Randle's getting into it with people. Rui Hachimura is physical. I mean, that might be one of the most physical games I've ever seen in a playoff game, and it was awesome. It reminded me of the olden days, right? The MJ era, the Kevin Garnett playing when we were younger era. all that stuff. And I've seen online people are kind of, especially Lakers fans, they're kind of butthurt guys because things weren't called. But is this good for the game? Like, what did you see, Andrew, in last night's game and the physicality and why they let it kind of go?
I'm going to zig a little bit. I thought
Mhm.
it was physical. I don't think it was more physical than like game 3, 2, or 1. Like,
Mhm.
I think what was different is game 1, the Wolves came out, punched first, and they kind of set the tone for what the physicality in the game was going to be. And Rudy talked about it at practice earlier this week of just that is something that the Wolves are trying to set as like their number one like
Mhm.
impactful thing is we need to set the tone physicality, because if you're setting the tone, the refs kind of go off of whoever sets that tone first. The Lakers set it game 2. I mean, Rui was all over the place. LeBron was super physical. I think game 3 was more physical than game 4, though. I mean, LeBron was absolutely unreal in game 3. He was shoving people
Facts.
around. He was backing down everybody at will. He was throwing elbows. He was throwing shoulders. It was like a LeBron circa 2012 Miami Heat like master class where he's just bigger, faster, stronger. Game
Mhm.
4, I think it felt more physical because everyone was just so dog tired at the end of the game. It's been reported now, I mean, quite a bit. JJ went same 5 the entire second half.
Yep.
First team in modern, I mean, shot clock basketball history that has ran the same 5 without a substitution. LeBron played 36 consecutive minutes in that game.
Ridiculous.
Luka played 34 consecutive minutes. AR had 2 minutes in the second quarter because of the foul trouble, still finished with over 35. I mean, everyone was just exhausted. Ant was exhausted. Dante exhausted. And when you get tired like that, you start leaning on people more. You start kind of losing your footing more. I really think that was more than the physicality, was just they were so tired and moving so slow by the end of the game. And I mean, Tripp, I'd love to hear your thoughts on it. 36 consecutive LeBron minutes at age
At age
40
40.
in a playoff game is
Crazy.
wild.
That's the one guy I think that, for better or worse, can still do it. But a Luka, who all the credit in the world, one of the greatest
Yeah.
offensive talents, I will say talents I've ever seen on the offensive side of the ball. But he's a guy that needs to rest a bit, and that's not me throwing shade. But he's not. LeBron's built different. Yeah, at 40, little old. He should, but like that was JJ, I think, kind of channeled some inner former player in him where he's like, no, keep me out there, like, fired up playoff moment player. And it definitely hurt him. But it's encouraging to see from your vantage point, Andrew, being live that, they didn't look as tired on TV as you're making them out to be, which is a major credit to them. Like, I didn't get like, even when there were some stretches late in the game where I'm like, oh, shit, this is it. We might have just. The Lakers might go on a run here, but Ant kind of starts pushing LeBron. These things keep happening, and to me, you mentioned Redick doing that, and not to go on a different rabbit hole, but I got to give credit to Chris Finch for his ability to mix and match players at the right time. Terrence Shannon Jr. getting a couple minutes
Saw
splash.
that.
So credit to Chris for putting together a great game plan, schematically as well as substitution wise. Because to your point, maybe Rui, who's really young, can do it. He's not moving around as much as a ball
Mhm.
dominant.
Mhm.
But yeah, I mean, you can't go. That's insane to go full second half starters. To your point, I mean, it's never been done. It's crazy.
Never been done.
I
Age 40
I'll
LeBron,
say
dude.
on the Oh, I was just gonna say on the fatigue,
Yeah.
like it doesn't come through the TV because a
No.
lot of times
Yeah.
you miss the subtle things. Like Ant on defense was playing
Yeah.
his tail off, and then as soon as they got the rebound, I mean, he was keeled over like winded walking up the court to get on
Mhm.
offense.
Mhm.
Julius was just absolutely like gassed towards the end of the game. And I mean, it really showed. I have the stats up here. I mean, LeBron, Austin, and Doncic. Let's see here. Quick math. 3 for 15 in the fourth quarter. I mean, they were
Mhm.
they were gassed. They had nothing left,
Yep.
which JJ talked about it after the game that he went to those 5 at halftime and said, "Hey, this is what I'm thinking." All 5 of them were like, "Yep, let's do it." He went to him again at the end of the third quarter and said, "If anyone needs like a minute or two, like we can figure it out." And all 5 of them were like, "Nope, let's do it." Unfortunately, like Trip, to your point, sometimes the coach just has to make a decision, though. I mean, when you're seeing Luka beat Red walking up the court, and on the other side of the floor, Ant's just attacking him, maybe
Yeah.
you give him a couple minutes. I mean, Gabe Vincent probably wasn't going to win the game, but I just can't. I mean, that is as desperate as you can get when you're like, I can't play any of my bench for 30 minutes.
I mean, you think about it too. I think when you do it with like, shout out to Sally, by the way. Shout out to Sally. What's up? If you haven't seen Sally's content too, that's if you follow the Minnesota Vikings, that's someone to check out for sure. But yeah, I mean, Anthony Edwards is young, right? So guys, he can play nonstop in the second half, which he did. Luka Doncic is still pretty young, so he can play, but it's LeBron James playing in that whole second half. They're being age 40 and they're playing him. That's ridiculous. It's you know what I mean? So it's just one of those things. Also, I gotta say, Anthony Edwards, I think this might be his best playoff game I've ever seen him play. Straight up, like head to toe, took it on. I mean, incredible game for Anthony Edwards. Finished with 43 points, 9 rebounds, 6 assists, doing everything for the team, hitting insane shots, 16 points in the fourth quarter today. Or yesterday against the Lakers. The Lakers had 19 points in the fourth quarter alone as a team. I mean, it's just incredible to see what this kid has done at age 23. He's so special. He's so talented. And last year in the playoffs, you see him, he took out Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. And then he not only took them out, but he took out the MVP, Nikola Jokic, and that team, and the former champions, the Denver Nuggets from the year before, who many considered one of the top dogs out there. And he's talked about it, and he said it before previously, a year back or so, that he wants LeBron James in the playoffs, and he got him. And he didn't just get LeBron, guys. He got Luka Doncic, who eliminated the Timberwolves last year in the playoffs, who talked shit in front of everybody and let everyone know in the Western Finals when we faced them. And so to come in and to do this to Luka and LeBron, I mean, and to come out before, Andrew, you had posted it, his interview before. It said everyone's doubting the Wolves. Everyone wants the Lakers to win. He heard the noise, man. This kid is so special. He turns up every single time. Playoff Ant is real. The regular season, he takes it to a new level every single time we see the playoffs. This kid is awesome. I can't believe we have him as a Minnesota Timberwolf. What did you think of his game, guys?
Yeah, I mean, he was great. It was probably the best. What I appreciated about it more than anything is during the regular season, he wasn't doing most of this. I mean, during the regular season, he was not passing out of double teams. He was not passing out of traps. He was not doing great at just driving relentlessly over and over again. You saw him settle for threes. You saw him kind of call his own heat check a little bit too often. But I mean, before this series started, to a man, everyone that we talked to at practice was saying, like, Ant's different. He is locked in more than they'd ever seen him. He's ultra confident. He's hyping his teammates up. He made a comment to me in a press conference that, this may not be his series. It may be Jaden's turn to score 35 a game. I don't think anyone really thought he was serious, but now Jaden's averaging 20 something a game, and maybe he was serious. But it's just the complete switch that flips. I mean, he, like, literally within just a week has gone from somebody who's we've kind of questioned his decision making, we've questioned his late game execution, to now he is absolutely locked down the late game execution. He's completely locked down his decision making. He's completely bought in on assisting. He's taking smart shots. Even last night, like in the fourth quarter, he shot 4 of 7, and really the only bad shot was that weird mid-range fade that he did with 3 minutes left, which again, Ant's gonna ant sometimes. I mean, he's just a different dude. He is kind of the de facto leader on this team. He works out relentlessly. I mean, him and Chris Hines do multiple workouts every single day where they are just like in the gym. He was answering a question to Jace Frederick, shout out Pioneer Press, about like where he developed that like underhand Euro step that he got LeBron to foul him on. And he's like, yeah, that's just me working with Chris Hines like all the time. Like Chris Hines is a shorter guy. He said, how shorter guys are. They're always fouling. So I had to figure out a way to like twist my body to get it past C. Hines. And that's just turned into a staple of his game. Last year in the playoffs, Jalen Clark at Media Day shared a story of like Anthony Edwards. Jalen went in for like his treatment from his Achilles. Ant was there when the treatment started. Treatment's done. Jalen's leaving. Ant's still working. Ant like just legitimately has the power to just not let teams lose. And I think that's where like the rest of the Wolves' confidence comes from, is he has that ability to him where even where he's getting double and triple teamed, he can ratchet it up and still score 40 in a game 4.
Yeah, what about Julius Randle, Trip? What about Randle real quick? I got to get your opinion on Randle, because 25 points for Randle the other day. You had talked about it the other day with Matt yesterday on the live Trip, how Randle came out, and Matt had brought it up too, how he's playing unreal in the last, handful of 3 playoff games here that we have, or the 4 playoff games, I should say. And now we're going to game 5, but has he kind of rewritten the narrative on Julius Randle in the playoffs?
100%. And I'll quickly say this on Ant. There's a lot of great talents in the NBA. It's the NBA for a reason, but there's not a lot of elevators. When he's on, the rest of the team is on. That says a lot about Anthony Edwards. But to your question, Julius Randle is exactly, and I said this the other night with Matt, I mean, he's exactly who the Lakers thought they were getting when they drafted him out of Kentucky. His relentless pursuit on defense, his toughness, his smart shot making, his smart ability to drive when he needs to versus settling where we've seen him in the past settle for a mid-range or like a 3 that he probably shouldn't be taking. Yeah, he might make it here and there 30-ish% of the time, but he just is making all the right plays, and he just seems to fit like uniquely well with Anthony Edwards. And I don't think I don't think I would have said that like 4 months ago, but we have to give these people grace. You go into a new job. It's often said like for the first year, you're hiring someone just off like what you think they could be. This is a job for these people. And, he had to come in and have a bunch of new coworkers where he had to go gut it out with every day, even behind the scenes where Andrew sees it. We don't see it as I myself as a fan. I'm not at practice watching these guys. They got to get dinner with each other. You have to build a true relationship with these people. And seems like it's clicking at the right time. And I tweeted this during the game, and many people were tweeting back saying like, yeah, they can't believe that they've come to this conclusion, or that they never thought they would. But like you got to pray to God he picks up that player option, because Julius Randle is exactly who this team needs.
That's a fact, man.
He needs to pick up the option.
No, he needs to. Also, I want to ask you guys a question about Randle too. Andrew, I'll ask you too. We're going to go to a quick ad read break, and then we'll come right back to Julius Randle.
Your Minnesota Timberwolves are up 3-1 against the Los Angeles Lakers. And guess what? Game 5 against the Los Angeles Lakers is coming up this Wednesday, April 30th at 9 p.m. Central Time. Yeah, it's a late one, but you know what? Wolves fans are still going to show up strong, and they're still going to be watching the game. If you're in the South Metro, Savage, Prior Lake, Burnsville, Shakopee, Lakeville, Chanhassen area, or nearby, then check this out. WolvesRealtor.com is hosting a playoff watch party at the Savage Tap location that is located in Savage, Minnesota, and everybody's invited. There'll be raffle prizes, games, other things, other fans, man. They're all going to be there to cheer on the Minnesota Timberwolves. And bonus, the Savage Tap is dog friendly, so you can even bring your wolf along. To reserve a spot, head to WolvesRealtor.com. While you're there, you can also request free, no obligation home value estimate or schedule a real estate consultation if you're thinking about buying or selling this spring. It's going to be a great time. Check out WolvesRealtor.com for all the details.
Shout out to Heather again for that, having that watch party for fans this Wednesday. It's definitely a place to check out. Andrew, I got to get your opinion. I've just, since watching Randle, since we're on the topic, he's been so physical in the series. he's matched up so well on guys like Luka Doncic because we know Luka's so crafty. He gets the switch, and then Randall's picking him up. Or you see a Naz Reid, bigger guys that can maybe handle a little bit of size like Luka. You saw Randall guarding LeBron James in the series, and LeBron James, I should say, is stronger than most people in the NBA, Andrew. But I feel like Julius Randle's one of those guys that he's not stronger against. Also, how physical the series has been played. We've seen it. Julius Randle doesn't get frustrated. But there's another guy, I just got to say it, Karl-Anthony Towns. He gets frustrated in those circumstances. He flails his arms. He gets animated. Why isn't there a call? I'm just wondering if Karl-Anthony Towns was still here, let's say, instead of Randle, are they getting that job done? Or is Randle, in the way that he's played this series, with the physicality, the way he matches up with these guys, and then adding the depth with Dante DiVincenzo, is that a game changer on how the Wolves are winning this series against LA?
Yes and no. Randle, he does get frustrated. Like, I think Randle is just a more mature is like a bad way to say it, but Randle is 3 years older than Cat. Like, if Randall's getting smacked around, like, he's a little bit better at hiding his emotions. He's a little bit better at like channeling it in different ways. I'll say, like, Cat does not have Randall's physicality. Randall, like, is a freight train. He embraces physicality. He plays violently. He plays like with an edge that not many people I've been around have, especially given how quiet he is. He doesn't really like talk a lot, but he is kind of uniquely made for a matchup against LeBron. Like, LeBron 10 years ago is probably just blowing around Randall, but LeBron at this stage in his career isn't quite as fast. And he relies a lot on that strength. And Randall is probably one of 10 players in the league that LeBron can shove his shoulder into and Randall doesn't move, which is unreal. That's the type of physicality Randall brings. And then on the other side of the ball, I mean, if there is a mismatch, if Reeves is on him, if Rui's on him, if even Jackson Hayes, who is bigger than Randall can just really bully his way into like pretty easy buckets. And that's what we saw a lot in the first quarter and first half of yesterday's game, was just Randall was just getting to his spot at will because the Lakers just don't really know what to do with him on defense. They want to hide LeBron on Mike or on Nikhil so that there's a little bit of a break for LeBron for all he's doing offensively. They're trying to hide Luka. They're also trying to hide Reeves. That means Randall can just kind of go ruck shot when he gets the ball because he's getting like Rui or Reeves on him. And neither of those guys can compete with Randall's just physical play. I'd say on the Cat side of it, I think if the trade never happened and Cat's here, I think Cat would bring a different, uniquely like detrimental problem. The Wolves would be able to go Cat, Nikhil, Jaden, Ant, and Nah as a closing five. All five of them can shoot 40% from three. All five of them aren't afraid to take the ball and drive. All five of them are like solid to average defenders that would be able to switch 1 through 5. I don't think just by saying like Cat's gone, the Wolves have a better chance. They just have a different chance. They're doing it a different way. To me, the value of that Cat trade is still like the summer of 2026, the summer of 2027, where the Wolves just have more flexibility. But we're seeing Cat in New York, where he won that game for them against the Pistons. He had that fall away out of bounds shot. He had a darn near logo 3 to win the game. I mean, Cat is a supreme athlete. It's just, I think the mentality that Chris Finch wants his team to play with is a lot closer to this team this year. He wants them to be bullies. He wants them to be angry, violent players. And Cat, for all of his benefits, and there are like a laundry list of benefits to Cat, he's not a bully. And that's I think the vibe of the team when you got a Rudy, you got Jaden, who, I mean, there's compilations of all the stuff Jaden Nas going around online.
Man's a
which
savage. Love that guy.
Dude's a bully. And then you have Ant, who's a bully.
Yeah, Jaden's literally like the crash out definition of a crash out. He's so funny. I love watching him. I'm gonna get your intake on Jaden and Nas, how they impacted the game trip, and especially Nas in that fourth quarter, real quick. But we're also partnered with SeatGeek, guys. That's the best ticketing app out there. And I don't know about you guys, but I'm thinking about going to the Minnesota Timberwolves game if it were to come back to Minneapolis for game 6. Hopefully it doesn't happen, but let's just say, or maybe a Minnesota Wild game because they're in the playoffs as well. This is your place to go. And on top of that, we're hooking you guys up with a $20 off your next order on SeatGeek on us. Just put in that promo code you see on the screen, the Daily Wolves, all one word, and get $20 off your SeatGeek order. Trip. Obviously, we saw Naz Reid last night. How big has he been in the series? I feel like he's quiet, but he comes in at the right times. That dude's an animal. He's a dog. He's matched up really well. He's brought in the physicality. He's doing it on all sides of the floor. And then, of course, Jaden McDaniels, again, 16 points the other day. Incredible. He's had a couple games where we saw the 30-point, the 25-point, I believe, the other night. I mean, he's been awesome as well. What do you think of their games?
Yeah, how about that lighting change during the first break? Love to see it. Got dark here in Michigan. But
Here we go.
I've said this a few times, but same thing I did with Nas. I tweeted Nas did not have a good first half. It was very bad. And it showed for the team. And I didn't say that stretched beyond that, but what he did in the fourth quarter, later in the game was a total difference-making performance and effort,
Facts.
more so than anything, not just box scoring, but like his ability to just be out there and stretch the floor, whether he was taking a shot or not, played a huge role late in the game. And credit where it's due. That's the Nas Reid we all know and love. When it comes to Jaden, like just when I wonder like if he's ever going to take a next step, he seems to do it in a series like this. Like he has been the Jaden we knew deserved that extension. And for a lot of people, like I live in Michigan as a diehard, not a lot of diehard Wolves fans here, a lot of Pistons fans, rightfully so. They're not familiar with Jaden McDaniels' game like that. They just see like this guy makes $30 million. Like what for what? His offensive performance this series. You knew what you were going to get on defense. You knew he was going to bully some people, even if you don't see it on the TV screen. He's getting that job done defensively and getting in people's head. He's making shots. I mean, it's just like this is the Jaden that was what a 5-star recruit.
Out of Washington, yeah, facts.
He's just if this is who he can just be, every game. I know that's a lot to ask, or just call it consistently. That's a completely different, to Andrew's point earlier, like 26, 27 looks even better. And I think he's going to be the X factor. If we can wrap it up in 5, I think we can all reflect on this series. Of course, Anthony Edwards is, the national media. Everyone's going to give Ant credit. Of course, 30 plus points. He deserves all the credit in the world. But I think we'll look back on this series if we can pull it off in 5, knock on wood, and say Jaden McDaniels was probably the second most important reason why they did it.
Do you guys want a fun Nas Reid fact from the playoffs?
Of course.
Let's hear
Nas
it.
Reid in the 4 games.
Yeah.
In the first quarter, he's shooting 37.5% from the field, has not made a 3.
Oof.
In the fourth quarter, he's shooting 90% from the field and has not missed a 3. Dude understands the assignment.
He gets it. The closer. When you thought Ant was the closer, but it turns out to be Nas Reid, guys, and that's crazy. We're going to wrap things up, guys, real quick, but we're also partnered with Better. Before we get out of here, that is the best sports betting app out there. If you don't know what it is, search BETR on your app store. You can find that sports bet on there today. You can legally bet in the state of Minnesota. If you use promo code The Daily SPN, all one word, that's right, The Daily, letter S, letter P, letter N. When you sign up on Better, they're going to hook you guys up with a 77 deposit match on your first deposit at 100%. They're going to match that stuff just by using our promo code. Shout out to Better again for making this possible. And we're going to wrap things up, guys. We go live after every single game. Wednesday, Timberwolves take on the Lakers. Can they close it out? We'll find out, and we'll be live after the game come through. This is the Daily Wolves courtside, and as always, go Wolves.
Go Wolves.